Hello everyone, and welcome back to Pokepaint, the series where I develop Fakemon to inhabit my fan Pokemon region of Tripora. We're gonna have a tropical themed episode this week. Well, I guess every episode is tropical in a region based on the Virgin Islands. I guess we'll have a pirate themed episode? I don't know. I'm trying to say we're gonna draw some parrots and we're gonna draw some pirates. Guess that's the best way to say that. Last time I set out to redesign both our map and our grass type starter Pokemon, so this time we're gonna see a little more of the same as I take another crack at line from the beginning of our series, our regional bird Pokemon, Sonia, and its 2 evolutions. That's not all though today, don't worry, I'm gonna bring you some more new Pokemon. I wanted to make another separate bird Pokemon species based on a different type of parrot, as looking through past real Pokedexes, there are usually a few bird Pokemon species besides the regional bird in a regional dex. If you remember some time ago, I asked you all to leave names in the comments below for our evil team, as I didn't really like my original name of Team C's. You all came up with some really good suggestions, but as it's been like a month since I proposed the original question, I think it's about time to make up my mind already. I think by far the coolest name was one that JC Emil Dillig came up with. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. And that is Team Arbor. There are so many cool wordplay ideas behind this name. The first, of course, is, as they pointed out in their comments, the R sound is sort of a pirate pun. And not only does it sound like harbor, a place where you might find pirates, but also seems to have some great origins in the word arbiter, which means a person that has ultimate authority or power over something. Which, I don't know if that part was intended, but man, does that really hit the nail on the head really well with where I want that story to go. I've gone on for long enough. Let's stop dilly-dallying. I'm going to start with our newest Pokemon first. I had a lot of types of parrots to choose from, many of which I'm quite knowledgeable of, as my girlfriend and I have a lot of birds. And yeah, I had more than a few to choose from that are native to the Caribbean. However, I went with the one species that I own that isn't from the Caribbean for some reason. And that's the cockatiel. Well, 2 species, the cockatiel and the cockatoo. So now I have 3 of our birds drawn as Pokemon. How about that? The first form is going to be based on a cockatiel. I became really fixed with the idea of this after I saw another fan Fakemon of a cockatiel, and I saw how great the idea could be when fully fleshed out. They're sometimes known to talk and are usually very nice, although ours do neither of those things. Since they are known to mimic their owners' voices and household sounds like ringtones and timers, it was really easy to come up with the name Mimetiel, from mimic and cockatiel. Actually, the whole design idea came together super quickly, and with the trademark clueless expression of a cockatiel, this, in my mind, is one of my most accurate representations of a real-life animal. Although that's not entirely what designing a Pokemon is about, sometimes it's nice to go the easy way. It was also easy to make a design as the real bird already has a lot of Pokemon-like qualities. Its rosy cheeks sort of resemble Pikachu's red cheeks, and the crest on its head resembles that of a Starly's. Mimetiel, the copy bird Pokemon. Although they are one of the less intellectually inclined Pokemon out there, they are known for their uncanny ability to copy sounds exactly. They were used as note-taking assistants in the past, as they could perfectly recreate their trainer's speech and recall it for them later on. This, however, will often backfire, as once this Pokemon stores or heard sound, there is no way to know when it's going to produce it again. The logical progression from cockatiel was into a cockatoo, an umbrella cockatoo to be specific, and to be honest, this was kind of the whole reason why I did this idea in the first place. This Pokemon was heavily inspired by our cockatoo Frank. He was a rescue bird that came from a rough home that we got to stop plucking his feathers. For those of you who don't know, cockatoos and other large parrots will self-mutilate if super stressed, one of the only other creatures on the planet known to do this besides for humans. Thankfully, Frank is a very happy boy today, and luckily for us, he is way more mellow than other cockatoos like him. Well, most of the time. Yeah, we got pretty lucky with them. They're known to be a very challenging species of bird to keep as pets. Creating a cockatoo Pokemon was very easy. Its name comes from the same idea of Mimetiel being Copytwo, combining the words copy and two, as in as well, to sound just like the species name of the real bird. As cockatoos are known for their loudness and their ability to mimic words, the thought of adding speaker heads to their crest was a thought that I was originally iffy on, but ended up really actually carrying this design. So there we go. Its shiny form was also super fun to do, as I was easily able to give it the right colors to resemble another species of cockatoo, known as the Malaccan cockatoo. Copytwo, the copy bird Pokemon, and the evolved form of Mimetiel. Copytwo are known for their colorful personalities. Although they are very friendly and love to dance, they can be very destructive, especially in packs. They attack using their speaker-like organs on their crests and in their throats, and they are able to create a concussive sound that can shatter wood from close range. To most people in Pokemon, these sounds are ear-splitting. However, to others of their own kind, these sounds make for excellent music to dance to. Now to redo our regional bird, Sonia, the one based on a sun conure that I actually liked. If you remember, I based it on our bird named Bird, and fortunately or unfortunately for you, this is the last Pokemon I made based on a pet. At least for this video. There wasn't that much that I really wanted to change about Sonia. Mainly the eyes and the line thickness is what I wanted to mess with. However, I actually ended up changing a lot more stuff than I originally thought I would. There's adding certain markings to fill on interesting space. I tweaked the color palette to get it closer in line to colors that would actually be used in a Pokemon game. I super messed with the proportions and posing, making Sonia appear as juvenile as possible, as that physical characteristic really gives a lot to its personality. Sonia, the parrot Pokemon. People are attracted to this Pokemon for its cute appearance and unique intelligence. However, trainers who catch this Pokemon will often be thrown off by the surprisingly strong-willed flying type. Although their smarts can make them difficult to train at first, they can understand and execute complex commands that would usually be too much for another Pokemon to understand. Explorit was again not based on any pet that I've had, but rather based on an Eclectus parrot. Not for any particular reason, really the only reason that I stated is the true one, that it looks like a real-life middle stage between a sun conure and a macaw. Well, okay, it does if you squint. I actually didn't know this at first about this animal, but the green Eclectus that I based its shiny form on is actually not a simple color mutation like many other parrots have. Rather, it's just the male version of this bird, as the species is sexually dimorphic, with the males being green and the females being red. Although that's a really cool idea to incorporate into a Pokemon design, I feel like it would be weird to go from a Pokemon that doesn't change based on the gender to one that does to one that doesn't again. Even though I'd like to change it, I'm going to keep it as it is. I do love the idea of dimorphic Pokemon. I'll probably do that at some point in the future, as most regional Pokedexes have at least one. It was actually quite difficult to make a convincing middle stage, as it was difficult to strike the balance between representing the real-life bird and making an appropriate transitional period. There wasn't much I really wanted to change about this one, so I saved it for last when I drew these, as I wanted a better idea of where I would eventually go with the final design. That ended up being a really good decision, as even though I didn't really want to change the design as much as I did, I knew that there were features that I had to add to this middle stage to make it fit where it really didn't before. Explorit, the parrot Pokemon in the evolved form of Sonia. These Pokemon have a level of intelligence that is on par with that of a 5th grader. So much so that it can form basic human words and communicate more effectively with its trainer. They are often suspicious of people and will choose their associates amongst a select few. The most changed one, on purpose, is Cacophony. Funnily enough, this was my favorite name for a Pokemon that I had come up with at this point, but it was tied with Crowkick for one of my least favorite designs that I had done. It just didn't really look like a macaw. And yeah, like I said, that's not the most important thing about designing a Pokemon. But I admit the abstractness, if you could even call it that, of the original was not on purpose. I used some real and fan-made Pokemon to inform this design, as well as that of a real macaw. The change that I am most excited about is the change to the white area around a macaw's eye. In the original, I just kind of drew it there as it looks like in real life, but I was able to make it sort of resemble a question mark to allude to this Pokemon's intelligence. I also used feathers to busy up the middle of this design where it felt empty before, and yeah, this will still be the evil team leader's ace, as I originally intended, but I gave up on making it look as aggressive as I did before. Although it can be really cool to have a trainer and Pokemon duo that share a visual characteristic, I think it's way more important to keep the individual integrity of each design rather than making a cool visual crossover. Cacophony, the macaw Pokemon. Cacophony is one of the smartest Pokemon in existence, only having been beaten out, so far, by Alakazam. Strangely, they seem to have reverted to the normal cries of Pokemon to communicate verbally. They do this because with their added brain power, they have gained the ability to speak telepathically. One might think that this might strengthen the bond with their trainer even more. However, with a personality comparable to an absolute lunatic, they rarely if ever have anything nice to say. Now that I've redone his ace, I think it's time that we get to our team leader of Team Arbor. I wanted to forgo the newer trope of the evil team being more comic relief based, as I think most people do, and go back to the old idea of an evil team that's actually menacing. That was pretty easy to do, actually, as since this team is based visually on pirates, it was logical to base the evil team leader on one of the most historically terrifying pirates of all time, Blackbeard. Now, yes, some of you might be laughing, however, you'd probably be surprised to learn that Blackbeard was a real pirate whose real name was Edward Teach, who was around during the early 1700s. He got his nickname, Blackbeard, as he apparently was known for setting fuses in his beard on fire with gunpowder so that the billowing black smoke of his beard would intimidate his enemies. Yeah, that might do it. Okay, so no big changes required. Even without the crazy smoke beard stuff, we have a pretty intimidating team leader already. The name was a bit tough to come up with, though. I really tend to like names, especially names for evil team leaders that have some meaning, sort of like Cyrus or Chorus from the main series. So after doing a lot of digging, I think I settled on a pretty cool name. That being Captain Kane the Abhorred. Yeah, it's a little campy, a little piratey, but that works. It of course comes from Kane being the name of the first murder in the original Hebrew text for Christianity, and abhorred means to regard with extreme repugnance, and oh man, that basically perfectly sums up how the Tripora region views this guy. I am super happy with this character, and of all the human characters that I've done so far, this one was the most challenging and rewarding to do at the same time. Drawing humans in the Pokemon style is definitely a lot more difficult than drawing Pokemon in the Pokemon style is. I wanted him to have this towering and imposing appearance that all good pirate leaders should have, but it would have been really easy for the buff top-heavy design I landed on to be super goofy in the style. If not for a few well-thought-out aspects that nullified that. Like his coat that really fills out his form, like an animal making itself look bigger than it actually is, or his angled eyes that make him look just that much more unfriendly. Okay, so we have our backstory and our artwork finished for this episode. We have our 5 new Pokemon to add to our Pokedex. I promised we'll have more soon. But now it's time to get on to our first story segment in a good long while. Racing north from Electri City on our way to cut off Captain Kane in Callowtown, you race up the arid Route 7, reminiscent of Route 113 in Hoenn. Here you can find the Pokemon Skarmory, Larvitar, Scraggy, and Dwebble's fire form in the grasses. To get across Tourmaline Island, like we talked about last time in our map making video, there is a massive wilderness to traverse. This, of course, includes the volcano caves under the massive Mount Scarlet. In these superheated caves, between lava pools and steaming crevices, can be found Pokemon that would call this hazardous environment a luxury, those being Palava, Torkoal, Batilago, and Slugma. The crack on the far side leads us out to Route 8, a lush jungle valley between two mountains. Using the fertile volcanic soil, a mighty forest has sprung up here that remains a wonderfully overgrown jungle location, as its placement shields it from human intervention. Because of that, much of the road does not exist on a path on the ground, rather than in the interlacing branches of the towering trees here. In these trees can be found another set of Pokemon, those being Mimetiel, Ariados, Scyther, and Breloom. The ever-increasing altitude of the path eventually leads us to a small tunnel in a cliff face that leads us into the highly elevated snow valley with a lake in the middle. The only place in the Tripora region where yearly snowfall can occur. Lake Azure, at the top of this mountain, acts as a refuge for these ice-type Pokemon that live here, those being Bergmite, Snorunt, Taper Frost, and Swinub. Don't worry, we're almost done here. Just south of the lake is Acro Tunnel, a steeply dropping subterranean path with impossible ends and pitch-black twists and turns. Here in these dark depths can be found the Pokemon Sableye, Stalagmite, Batilago, Onix, and Machop. After what must take hours of traversing the dangers of this cave, we stumble into the light of Callowtown, a beautiful, picturesque town on a thin stretch of land on the edge of a perfectly circular lake, the only exit of whom is a towering waterfall on the other side that falls into the ocean. That is, this might be a picturesque location, were it not for the massive pirate ship that blocks out the sun, towering above its harbor. You arrive here at the same time as the other part of your little crew, that if you remember, consists of your brother, who is the water gym leader Ty, the electric-type gym leader Electra, and the mystery trainer that came alongside your brother when you all first met in Electri City. 4 of you race through Callowtown, bumping into the raiding bands of Team Arbor and the terrified common folk alike on your way to the museum. On the front steps of this museum, you find the dreaded Captain Kane the Abhorred. And he lives up to his name, towering over his underlings with a massive scarlet bird on his pleated shoulder. He grins maniacally. In his gloved hand, he holds an ancient-looking stone tablet. The mystery stranger in your group has some choice words with the team leader, and you get that there's some unspoken shared history there. That's called foreshadowing, kids. Anyways, we get the whole evil leader monologue that he wants to reform the world in his image, the main notes of which that he's going to use this tablet in conjunction with a second tablet that he can find somewhere else in the region that can gain the control of two legendary Pokemon that are known as the Lord of the Sky and the Lord of the Sea, respectively. The combined might of which will give him ultimate control over the region. Pretty standard stuff, I think. In retaliation for getting in his way, he sends out his towering Gyarados, who blasts your companions down the steps, you only avoiding the attack by inches. You being the only one standing, and not willing to give up without a fight, the battle begins. His massive Gyarados is at level 33 and has the ability Intimidate, with the moveset Aqua Tail for stab, Scary Face to lower your speed, Twister as a powerful dragon move to make you flinch, and Ice Fang. You can tell that there's a good reason why this guy is this organization's leader. His second Pokemon, should you defeat his Gyarados, is a level 33 Rampart with the ability Gluttony. It holds a Citrus Berry and has the moveset Earth Power, Drill Run, Head Charge, and Horn Leech. Now that's one Iron Wall of a Pokemon. Well, Wooden Wall might be more accurate. I don't know. The whole battle, Kane's menacing cacophony has been eyeing your Pokemon from afar, with great interest. And finally, with no more team members left, it has somewhere to come out and play. His Cacophony is at level 34, with the ability Soundproof, with the moveset of Boom Burst, Aerial Ace for stab, Roost to heal itself, and Tailwind to increase its own speed. With his defeat, Captain Kane agrees to give up his blockade of the harbor. However, he escapes with the stone tablet, all the same, shouting as he sails off that he will soon bring his will to bear upon the Tripora region. With Tai, Electra, and the stranger recovered, a bit too late in my opinion, Tai says that you should continue on with your gym challenge, and not let the business of some criminals get in the way of your future. He also says that the three of them will be scouring the far corners of the region, searching for the individual ships of Captain Kane's multi-ship fleet. After this point in the game, I had an idea that instead of having several scripted encounters for the evil team, even though there will be a few, there would be instead several random encounters with like half a dozen ships that roam around the open sea zone, sort of like the roaming legendary mechanic from Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Each ship encounter would give you a few unique grunts to fight. I feel like that's a pretty cool way to keep the evil team prescient idea in the player's mind. And also, if this were ever to become a real game in the future, it might give some pretty good replay value. Alright. If you have any updates for your team, leave it down below. I know we haven't had a lot of new Pokemon to add in these last 2 episodes, but we're going to change that next time. And we're going to work on adding a few of our missing types that I talked about a few episodes ago. I've got a few good ideas for the ones I'm going to do next time, but feel free to let me know if you have any more in the comments below. As always, if you like this video and want to see more like it, then subscribe, and turn on the bell to get notified when I upload next.